You don't choose the way you think you choose. The moment you say, "I decided," feels like the beginning of the story. One person, one moment, one clear choice. Yes. But what if that moment is not actually the beginning? What if the decision is simply the point where a much longer process finally becomes visible? In many situations, what you call a decision is not the start of the story. It is the ending, the final domino in a chain of events that started much earlier. By the time you become aware of the choice, the process that produced it may already be well underway. We like to imagine ourselves as the isolated authors of our behavior, as if decisions simply emerge from a moment of pure individual will. In that picture, a person simply arrives at a crossroads and chooses a direction. But that picture hides something. Most actions do not begin at the moment you feel you are choosing. They begin earlier, in processes that are already running in the background. To see this, start with a very small moment. You're driving. The road is calm. Suddenly, a car cuts in front of you. Your body reacts immediately. Your shoulders tense. Your foot lifts slightly from the accelerator. Maybe a word escapes your mouth. Only after that reaction do you start forming a thought. That driver is reckless. Or, people should learn how to drive. The reaction arrived first. The explanation arrived later. This happens because the brain processes emotional signals extremely quickly. In many situations, automatic reactions appear before conscious reasoning has time to catch up. In experiments about decision-making, researchers have even observed brain activity preparing a movement before people report the conscious decision. The brain begins preparing the action. Only afterward does the feeling of deciding appear. In other words, the preparation can start before the awareness. Your mind then builds a story that makes the action feel deliberate. And this pattern appears in everyday life. Imagine you're in a meeting. A colleague interrupts you mid-sentence. Some people react instantly with irritation. Their voice sharpens. Their body language closes. Others pause, smile slightly, and let the interruption pass. Same situation, two very different reactions. The difference rarely appears in that moment alone. It comes from something slower and deeper, personal history. Every experience leaves traces: success, embarrassment, praise, rejection. Over time, those experiences shape expectations and habits. Someone who grew up in an environment where interruptions signaled disrespect may react quickly with anger. Someone who learned that interruptions are normal in fast discussions may barely notice. Both reactions feel immediate, but they are built on years of accumulated experience. What looks like a spontaneous decision is often a pattern shaped long before the moment arrives. And even personal history is only part of the picture. Every individual life unfolds inside a wider environment. Social norms, economic incentives, cultural expectations, the behavior that people around you reward or criticize. Imagine two young graduates entering the job market. One grows up in a culture that celebrates risk, starting a company, moving abroad, changing careers. Another grows up in an environment where stability is valued more: secure job, predictable income. When both face the same choice, the decision does not emerge from a vacuum. The surrounding culture has already shaped what feels reasonable or reckless. Human behavior is not nature against culture. It is nature operating inside culture. Biology sets the possibilities. Culture reshapes the probabilities. Personal experience selects which cabs feel natural. By the time a decision appears, all these layers are already interacting. It is the visible outcome of processes already in motion, like watching the last domino fall and ignoring the chain behind it. The choice is not the starting point, it is the result. Because what looks like a simple decision is often the final expression of a long chain of influences. The choice is not the starting point, it is the result. And if we want to understand human behavior, we have to look at everything that came before the moment that feels like a decision.